We don't use lead aprons in medicine. So I wish to summarize and say that we need to safeguard our workers from exposure to ionizing radiation and regulatory compliance. We need to listen to what Papakan tells us, okay? But sometimes we need to use science to argue with Papakan. If Papakan is not reasonable, if they are not reasonable, we need to use science. And the science is, for example, using slim shield, wild shield, compared to putting lead on the control room of a PET-CT scanner that is, does not have exposure outside the PET-CT control room. For example. Next is using PPE is important to cut down on contamination risk. Shielding and containment of the radiation is important. Time distance and shielding below 10. Radiation monitoring is a must. And continuous monitoring of radiation level in the workplace by using a workplace monitoring as well as a white test as well to look for contamination, removal contamination. And training and education is extremely important. Even in a busy department, you need to set aside some time. You can also leverage on online training to make sure that you can reach all your staff who are spread out across the country, perhaps, or even across the whole department. You don't have time to make everybody sit down together, make them do online. Give them questions, MCQs to assess their competency. Right? And workplace design as well is important. And I think that's my last slide. Hope you have any questions. All day I'm here for the next 3 days as well. You can ask me questions as well. And sorry, we don't have much time today. We're going to go on to the next topic, which I think you have ready. Yeah, okay, so we will switch to a PET-CT of PET-CT scanner, quality control of PET-CT scanner, and anybody has a question? No? All right. Very good morning, everyone. So, nice to see you again today. So, I hope that you enjoy the lecture from Mr. Soma regarding for the advanced transportation. So, the next topic that I will be talking is about PET-CT effectiveness. I think this may be useful for those interested for doing the exact testing for the PET-CT. It is very important actually when you install for the PET-CT scanner. So this is very important. In order to ensure that your scanner will be producing the critical communications, right? How to ensure that the equipment that you put the technicians will be well, in any aspect. All right. So, so this is my background. So right now I serve as the associate professor at Division of Medicine, Department of Radiology from University, and I also serve as the director of the Radiological Technology program at the University and the ESCOM of the Southeast Asia Federation of the 26 side committee of the AOP Regional Coordinator in Education for the Regional Studies here, region ASI. Yeah. Also serve as the interview coordinator at the executive report. For those who like to publish your paper, yeah, you can submit the scientific report. And also just invited the consultation to be associate either for the radiology and technology. So this is the official journal for the Oceania Federation of the Physics and also for the Southeast Asia of the Physics and also serve as the for the AASCO in university in PLC. All right.
Well, so let's start for my topic. As I mentioned, for the installation of the PET-CT, after the install of the PET-CT system, well, the acceptance test is really important aspect. In order to verify that your system is well and the specification in all of the components within the specific, vendor specific. And some tests, so you have to perform in order to establish. All right. Okay, we organized the workshop already for 3 days. This is the 4th day. So some battery is empty. Okay, in order to establish the baseline for the future test, like some tests will be providing the data for the reference data that did not give any specific from the vendor or from the NEMA test. Okay, and the last one, in order to evaluate the performance of the PET-CT system. So this is example when we install for the PET-CT scanner. In order to perform the testing, it doesn't mean that you don't be wasting a lot of the people, like when you access the equipment, what is the thing that they do? They just like how many computers they get from the vendor. Yeah. Test.
The battery?
Yeah. No. Yes. Okay. Right. In some hospital, when they purchase the scanner, like they count how many computers they get from the vendor. Okay, how many workstation? Yeah, something like that. That is not excellent testing. That is the technical. That is the excellent testing in terms or in the aspect of the competencies. All right. So as I mentioned, can we ensure that can we use our PET-CT scanner? So that's what we have to do for the excellent testing. So this is the documentation. So the documentation regarding for the actual activity published by the IAEA Human Health Series #1, published in 2009. Okay, this is the first publication of the IAEA. Okay, when you go to the website of the IAEA, you see many of the documentation, right, which is free of download. So this is #1 for the PET-CT excellent testing. All right, and we also follow for the NEMA standard. This is the NEMA test. So right now the latest version is the NEMA new to 2018 that published in 2018. Okay, and also for the AAPM, they published 40 excellent testing and 30 actual of the PET-CT in 2019. They use the different phantom. Yeah, they use the different phantom because some phantom is quite expensive and your center might not available. So they try to establish some tests that you can use your available phantom. Yes, but I did not mention for today. I maybe for the protocol for the NEMA test. Yes, and also all of the data when they test and achieve and have the certification that is based on the NEMA test, based on their own protocol. Okay, and yeah, as I mentioned, if the vendor has the vendor NEMA protocol, we have to follow. We have to test based on their protocol. Otherwise, we cannot compare the result. Okay, as I mentioned, this is the AAPM Series #1. This is the NEMA test, and also this one for the PET-CT excellent testing for the AAPM. All right. Okay, so this is the topic that you have to be performed for the excellent testing. So this one is you have to test for the spatial resolution. The sensitivity that we will perform in this afternoon. Okay. This is one of the testing for the DMA. The scatter fraction, coverage and random measurement accuracy of operation, noise equivalent coverage, image quality, time of flight, and density with this accuracy. So this is the pattern according to the DMA phantom set. This is the IEC body phantom. Okay, and the second one is the sensitivity phantom that consists of the 5 slits with the different side of the diameter. Okay, you see from reading and her team and guiding and the team for the demonstration. Thank you. And also for the inside, we will put the plastic tube that can fill the solution in the activity. Okay. And this one is the scatter fraction. Centimeter long of the scatter fraction made of the polyethylene. Okay. And this one for the calculation that put in for the L block shape. This is not the L block shape for the position, but this is for positioning for the calculation in order to determine the spatial resolution of the pixel. Alright, so why we use the calculated tube? So this normally we use for the low attenuated material, okay, to determine the spatial resolution, and we need verify Poissons. Verify Poissons in order to calculate for the spatial resolution. So that's why we use the calculated tube with a diameter of around 1 millimeter. Alright, so let's start on the spatial resolution. The spatial resolution is the test that would like to evaluate the system performance to distinguish between 2 points of available activity. Okay? Easy to say that in order to evaluate the resolution of the system of the scanner. Okay, so normally if you like have the smallest point that you can see from the image, which is the resolution, which is normally limited by the pixel size. Okay, and also for the performance of the detector of the detector. Okay, this one we call spatial resolution. Okay, and then how to evaluate this. When we obtain the Poissons, we draw the line here, and then we will get the full width and half maximum. Like this. Okay, and then you will determine the full width and half maximum. Right. And another one we call the spatial distance. Spatial distance means the smallest distance that you can differentiate between 2 Poissons. Okay, this one we call spatial distance. So which has the same concept with the spatial resolution. Okay, for the space between 2 Poissons should be comparable to the full width half maximum for the Poissons. This one. So normally, in order to evaluate for the spatial resolution, we use fully FG. Okay, no need to level with the FPG. Yeah, okay, no need to level with the FPG because we did not do the imaging. We don't want like the tracer to obtain in the packet of the right. So that's why you can do just before the FPG for the Poissons with a high accuracy consideration. Okay. And we suspend this in the air with a single location. Okay, the first one is 0, 1. Second one is 0, 10. Okay, 10 0 centimeter offset from the isocenter. And we put and then we place these Poissons into location. The first one at the center of axial FOV. Okay, so for example, if your FOV around, okay, let's say, like maybe 26 centimeter, okay, at the And the center one, center of the axial FOV, this is the first location. Okay, and another one is the 1/4. Okay, and in some vendor they recommend at the 1/8 of the FOV from the center. So that's why you have to shift the location from the center of the axial FOV, yes, to the 1/4 of the axial FOV. This is another location. And then when you apply the image, you change, and then you do the resolution by sharing the movie and half maximum into two locations. Okay. At the center and offset from the center. Okay, for example, normally put at the center 0, 1. Okay, and then the scanner will inform you this location will be put to 0, 10, something like that, and then 0. Okay, and then after that you move to the 1/4, the location at 1/4 of the FOV. Okay, and then you calculate for the radial profile. Okay, this one is the direction in the x-axis we call the radial profile. And for the 3.5 maximum in the y-axis, this one we call tangential profile. Okay. So we call tangential profile. And then you have to apply the point source according to the vendor specification. That's why before you perform the Lima test, you have to ask the vendor, do they have like a protocol for this? You have to follow their protocol. Okay? Just in case if they don't have their protocol, you can use the Lima protocol. Okay? But normally the vendor has their own protocol, which is follow the Lima protocol. But they have the specific something like, okay, the amount of activity, blah, 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 you have to be concerned by using blah, 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 okay, you have to sign, you have to apply, blah, 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 something like that. Okay?
The protocol is not free, right?
Sorry?
The name of protocol is not free.
The name of the protocol.
The name of protocol is not free.
It's not free. Yeah, you have to purchase. Maybe around just $100 something like that. Yeah. But if you want, I can give you. Yeah, no problem. I have the latest version for the Lima version 18. Yes, it's not free. You're right. But from the vendor, it's free.
Yeah.
Yeah, they must provide you. It's free. Okay, and then this is the example of the FFT point source with the activity concentration, with the activity, with the size of the point source from 1 on the 0.25 millimeter in size. So that's why it would be great if you can like make it a smaller, very fine point source. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't be crazy. This is the situation in order to calculate for the spatial resolution. Okay, we have to calculate for the 1 centimeter radius, 10 centimeter radius. Okay, at the transfer axial position for the transfer radial tangential, transfer tangential and axial resolution. This one. You can take a look from the Lima protocol and also from the IAEA document, which is your chart. Actually, it's very similar with the Lima. Okay, so like this is the we do from the projector. So by the way, okay, so the chair, I did not go to the detail. Okay, actually I sent these to the. This to the organizer. Yeah. But anyway, for those who would like to get this one, I can say it again. Okay. You can see actually they share the location, like in the X and Y location. Okay, and also at the central and offset. I will show you some. Okay, you can see it's like that. All right. For example, we need to calculate for the resolution at the 1 centimeter radius. in transfer, we have to calculate average x and y for both C position. Okay, at the center and 1/4. Okay, is hand. Alright. Resolution can be obtained by resolution in x. Okay, with x 0 and y 1 at the center. Plus resolution in y. Okay, x 0, y 1 at the center. It means you have to remember. X is in this one, radial profile, and Y is in tangential profile. You have to change this direction of the forbidden half maximum. And then plus resolution in radial profile for the X equals 0, Y 1 at 1/4 equivalent. Okay, and also for the tangential profile, X 0, Y 1 at 1/4 of the LOB, and then divide by 4. So that's why you just follow this one, and then this protocol, this equation will give you the answer that carry the forbidden half maximum into location. Okay, but the good thing is that right now you need to calculate everything. Just to understand the concept. This one will give the answer for you from the vendor. When you already apply, it will show you the result of the in each point source. Yeah, but I have experience to calculate everything. Because previously the vendor doesn't ask for the demand acquisition protocol. It is acceptable. Yes, but because so many of the institutions complain about this, why does the vendor did not include the Lima protocol in their scanner, so which is would be easier. So that's why right now when you scan this, it will give you the answer for this. So this is the example for the positioning for the structural resolution. Okay, you can see here. This is the L-shaped pixel. Okay, and then you will see you can adjust the location. And then you have to positioning at the isocenter. Okay, like this. Okay, this is the example for the structural resolution test. In the scanner, you have to work for the service code for the DR test. You can see here, you just put like the location of the point source according to the vendor recommendation. Okay, when you apply, they will give you which location you have to apply and put your point source. Like position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, something like that. Okay. My question is why the position of the acquisition is not 0, 0? Why is not 0, 0? Why is 0, 1? Why 0, 1? Why not 0, 0? And anyone need to the thing is that you can see here at the 0, 0 point, that is the sweet spot point. Sweet is WWET, we call sweet spot point. Yes, sweet spot. So because it's very difficult to position the point source at the 0, 0. Okay, because if you would like to set up 0, 0, you must put the point source with the very exact location. So that's why we call that location at the 0, 0 as is a sweet spot. Yeah, sweet spot. So that's why we try to avoid for that. Okay, because in the real thing, when you set up the phantom, you get the uncertainty for the positioning. So that's why the position recommended to use at the 0, 1. And another one is that you may get the scatter from 2 directions, right? Yeah, but this one you can get like the scatter just only from this point source, okay, but not from this one. Really need more effect from the scatter. So this is the reason. All right. So this one is the, so this is the example. So you can see here the result in transfer axial in the 1 and 10 centimeter for the distance. And this is the result for the fluid half maximum, fluid heavy maximum. The weather specification. You have to compare with the weather specification. Okay. Alright, so next one is the sensitivity. That is the test that we will perform in this afternoon. Okay? The sensitivity, this test is represent its ability to detect the annihilation, radiation, and also to detect the rate of the 2% count per radioactivity in terms of count per second per kilometer. So we need a material that around the source to ensure the annihilation of the boson, okay, and also to estimate the annihilation profile. So normally we use the FFT solution and surrounded by the absorber thickness with the thickness of the diameter of the sleeve of the steel like this. Inside we put the plastic tube with the length around 80 centimeters. Okay, and when you apply the sensitivity in order to evaluate the performance of your detector, okay, you have to place the sleeve, 5 sleeve of the material for the absorber suspect in air. So that's why we need like for the support, okay, for the low activation to support for the sensitivity.
Can we buy from locally for the road?
For the rock. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, if you can make it, you can do that. Yeah, for the sleeve, right?
The purpose is for the activation.
Yeah. So if you know the exactly of the thickness, if you can make it like thickness similar to the railway. Yes, the thickness one and also for the diameter, following the Lima protocol. And then the plastic tube you can find anywhere else, and you can place on yourself. It's good set across the wall. That's a good idea. Yeah, just try. Yeah. And then you suspend this sleeve at the isocenter. Okay, at the isocenter. And should be suspended in the air. So that's why you have to know the diameter of the scan. Okay, for example, like 70 centimeters of the diameter. So it means that the size of the substrate should be around 35 or something like that. Okay, and then when we apply data, we have to prepare the source according to the recommendation of the vendor. Okay, normally it should be in between like 0.5 to 1.5 millicurie. Okay, not too much. Okay, not too high activity for the sensitivity. Okay, and then you place at the center. That is the first acquisition. You will see this is the plastic tube that fill the activity of the fluid solution inside. And then after you apply with the sleeve, you have to remove outer sleeve one by one. Okay? When you apply like all 5 sleeve, okay? The scanner will show you, okay? Next step, you remove the outermost and apply again. Okay? When you complete, you remove the outermost, okay? And apply the rest. You have to do like this until remains the last one. Okay? And then you have to correct the length of the light source for the 70 centimeter. Okay? Because you have to correct for this one. Sometimes the length of the active light source might not calibrate at the 70 centimeter. So that's why you have to correct the length for this. And this is okay, so this is from the demand. This is the inside diameter and the outside diameter. Okay, you will know the thickness. Okay, of this sleeve. The length is 70 centimeters. Okay, so that's why this is the widest for the diameter and for the outermost. When you remove this one, you will remain 4 sleeve. center. And then when you finish for the center, you have to shift or offset from the center around 10 centimeters. Yes, because and then we plot the two event in the y-axis versus the accuracy thickness in the x-axis. Okay, you will see the trend of the attenuation when you increase the thickness of the sleeve. Okay, and well, why we need to apply at two position at the center and also there is the septum between the detector. You can see here. This is the septum between the detector. So that's why we call the 2D acquisition. Okay, it's not 2D image. It's not 2D planar image. Okay, by this the sensitivity is almost equal. You can see between the center and also at the peripheral. Okay, and this one is also the acceptance, the direction of the photon. In this one, they permit only in the straight direction, okay, to detect the photon by the detector. Otherwise, in the another direction, will not allow and will be activated by the sector over here. Okay, this is we call the 2D acquisition mode. The good thing for the 2D acquisition mode is that you get very good for the resolution, but low for the sensitivity. Because for the photon from the another direction will be absorbed by the septum. Okay? And next, okay, if we like allow plus minus one of the detector over here for the nearby detector to be accessed. Okay, by the detector over here. This one, the sensitivity will be increased. Okay. If we allow like plus minus 3 over here, so you can see here like at the straight direction and also for the adjacent detector access the photon and can count this photon, can count this coincident photon. The sensitivity will be higher. Okay, will be higher compared to the previous one. But right now, I think all of the scanner has acquired by the 3D data acquisition. There is no septum between the detector. Okay, all of the direction will be of the photon come to the detector will be accessed. Okay, so that's why at the center you get the higher of the sensitivity, the highest one. But at the location that offset from the center, the sensitivity will be decreased. This is the reason why we acquire at the center and 10 centimeter offset from the center. This is the purpose. Okay. And the other thing is that you have to keep in mind that it is really challenging for the large LOB facility center, right? In order to maintain the sensitivity in all locations of the PET scanner. So that's why they charge you. The scanner is very expensive for this. And for the 3D mode acquisition, you will get like very high for the sensitivity compared to 2D, but the resolution is lower compared to the 2D acquisition. But right now, all of the scanner has this so sophisticated algorithm in order to reconstruct and correct for this. So that's why you can get like high sensitivity and also the good resolution. So this is the result that we get. The example, okay? You can see here. This is you get in each of the axial plane, and this is the count rate for the count per second per megabecquerel. Okay, you can see here in the central will be providing the highest count compared to the periphery position. However, at the center and 10 centimeter offset from the center give you the comparable of the count rate. Okay, and when you plot the accumulated thickness against with the count rate, okay, when you like increase the thickness of the sleeve, the count rate will be decreased. Okay, and then you see the trend of the piece. We evaluate the sensitivity, okay, by take a look from the acceptance, by the vendor specification. For example, okay, the coverage should be at least 5.3 count per second per kilometer. Okay, and then you have to take a look from your result. Okay, should be at least within the vendor specification. Should be equal or higher. Okay, should not below the specification. All right. So sorry. Let me find my word. All right. Okay, that is the concept for the sensitivity. I think due to the we have enough time, right? Maybe what time should I finish?
How many slides do you have?
I made 4 tests. So how about I 15?
Okay.
Okay. So this one is the scatter fraction, okay, and also performance. This one is to measure the relative system sensitivity to the scatter radiation, and also to measure the effect of the system data and the generation of the random event at the several level of the source activity. So we have to calculate for the scatter fraction and amplitude distribution equal to the scatter divided by the scatter plus the true event. Okay, and we use the polyethylene phantom like this with the length around 70 centimeter. And this one we can use the plastic tube insert in the central part of the phantom in the polyethylene over here. And the plastic tube is fertilized for the diameter is about 2.3 millimeter. Okay, and for the coverage performance, this test is to measure the coverage of the scanner across the range of the radioactivity level. Okay, this test is spent a lot of time. Okay, so you have to put the polyethylene at the isocenter of the scanner. Yeah, okay, here at the isocenter, and then you insert the plastic tube and fill with very high activity. It's around, in our case, for example, almost 1 gigabecquerel. Yes, almost 1 gigabecquerel. Yes, around maybe 30 millicurie. Yes, of the polyethylene solution or according to better certification. And then you have to apply around 45 seconds scan. That's been time, 15 hours. 15 hours. Okay, no need to stay there. So that's why you need like test or the Newman test. You have to think about the sequence of the test. We start from the spatial resolution because right, we need a very high concentration because we need a very fine point source, right? So that's why we have our staff who run the cyclotron in early morning in order to perform the resolution test. That is to be must be the first test, and then followed by the sensitivity for the second one, and then after that. And you can test another test. And the last one, the last test of the first day, you start with the, or maybe after you start with the scatter fraction and the coverage performance. And then you left it. Okay? Because you have to apply like overnight. Okay? You just scan and, okay, go back home to sleep. And come back again in the morning. Okay? And then the next is failed. We used to have that experience. It's true. It's true. Okay? We let it apply overnight and then we come back in the morning. It's yeah, that's why you have to pray. You have to pray when you test this one. Okay. That's why we have to apply until the true even loss for less than 1%. This is the concept. Right, you apply like 15 hours at least or overnight. Okay? And then you, ladies and gentlemen, okay, you have to calculate what the scatter fraction and according to this scatter and the random. Okay, but you should keep in mind that according to the physics of the coincidence of the photon, random comes from two annihilation, right? It actually inside of the random is the photon come from two annihilation. The random and the scatter doesn't provide you for the image quality. It's not give you for the better image quality. Rather, it will contribute the noise to the image. Okay? Alright, so this is example when you apply for the scatter fraction and power rate performance and also the MECR. You will get a curve for the randoms, for example here, and K0 is the noisy random operation, and K1 is the noisy random operation. Okay, you will get like the blue curve. And then the green one, this is the curve of the two power rate. So you can see here. You can see here for the NEC, okay, NEC with the noise random operation or noisy random operation. With the higher concentration over here, the NEC will drop. Okay, and when you pass a very high concentration of the activity, the two coincidences over here will not occur. And the rate of the two will be lower than of the random. Okay, you will see it. You will see. At the beginning, at the appropriate activity concentration, the rate of the two over here in the green will be higher than the rate of the random, the top rate of the random. Okay, what is the meaning inside of this? Okay, the top rate performance. Okay, the problem is the top rate measured by the electric pair. T is true, random is R, S is the scatter. But you should keep in mind that the random comes from it is single top rate for the detector that detects from the difference annihilation. Right? Sometimes when you like thought that okay, you would like to increase the image quality. For example, like for the CT or X-ray, when you would like to reduce the noise and increase the signal to noise ratio, how to do? You increase the dose, right? You increase the dose. It's not suitable to do like that. It doesn't work to do like that. If you thought that, okay, I would like to increase the power, I would like to increase the signal to noise ratio, NEC or noise equivalent power rate, that is the rate of the signal to noise ratio. It is the signal to noise ratio. If you thought that, okay, you would like to increase the signal to noise ratio by increasing the injected activity, it doesn't work in pain. Right? Because, as I mentioned, for the random behind this equation, actually it comes from two annihilation. Okay? And when we inject the activity with the appropriate activity concentration, okay, the rate of the two will be higher than the rate of the randoms. And then you will get an NEC high enough on signal to noise ratio on the image. But if you increase the inject activity, the concentration will be increased as well. What will happen after that? The random will be occur very quickly, which is higher than the rate of the two. And the signal to noise ratio or NEC will be decreased. Okay? It doesn't mean that the CSNR will be increased as per expectation. It doesn't. Okay? So that's why you have to inject rapidly with the appropriate injected activity notifications. This is the reason. In the same case, we can get accuracy, which is correction for the power loss and the random to measure the accuracy of the correction for the daytime loss and random event count in the image. And the data from the power rate performance test will be used to measure the accuracy of the correction. Okay, in this case, so you will get the coverage performance and also for the scatter fraction. And so you can see here, this is the result for the scatter fraction. Okay, for the acceptance should be lower than 34%. Okay, in this study, in this case, we got 33.7%. Okay, it's still within the acceptance. The next one is the time of flight. By using the same phantom for the scatter fraction, you can evaluate for the time of flight measurement. In order to evaluate the ability of the scanner, okay, for the time of flight. What is the time of flight? The time of flight is in theory impossible to localize the event along the line of the response. Okay, when this is the annihilation event, and then when two photons interact farther from the annihilation origin and interact with the opposite detector. Okay, photon 1 and photon 2. The line along this one we call line of the response, or LOR. Okay, line of response. We have many of the line of response all simultaneously, and when we use this one, this one will be become the cytogram. Okay, that represents in each of line of the response, and we use this one to reconstruct the cytogram to become the image. Normally, according to the concept, both of photon should be should be powdered to the detector in the same time, right? So this one we call true coincidence. If both of the photon from inhibition event interact the detector within the timing coincidence window, okay, that comes from the same annihilation. This one we call true event, okay? If both photons interact within the timing coincidence window, okay, this one we will register and count this event. This is the concept of quantum pair. But for the time of flight, the origin of the annihilation may be close to this detector, okay, closer than for the other one. The time of flight is that we determine the difference of the time arrival to photon. Okay, it's like normally the two photons, if both photons interact the detector in the same time within the timing coincidence window, okay, we count this event, okay, and use this one to create an image. But in case of the time of flight, we calculate the difference of the arrival time between two photons. Okay, for example, for the timing coincidence window should be within like 6 nanoseconds. Right? Because the photon, the speed of the photon is similar to the speed of the light. The diameter of the ball, how large? Just only 70 centimeter or 80 centimeter. Correct? So it means that the center, from the center of the ball of the scanner, spend time just only maybe in nanosecond, right? In nanosecond. So if you set up the timing coincidence window, should be within 6 to 5 nanoseconds. If both photons interact or arrive to the detector within this time window, it will be registered. This is the concept. But for the time of flight, over here, calculate the difference of the arrival time. Okay? The speed of the light is pretty fast. Speed of the photon is pretty fast. The unit, the difference of the time between two photons that arrive to detector, you know, how much for the difference? In picosecond, right? It's just only in picosecond. So that's why this is the concept of the time of flight. Calculate the difference of the arrival time between two photons, and then if you obtain the difference of the time arrival between two photons in terms of the picosecond, and then you can calculate back the origin, the point that has the annihilation. Okay? For example, if the origin of the annihilation occurs in here, this photon will arrive to this detector faster than this photon. Okay? And then you can calculate that is the location of the annihilation due to from the difference time of the arrival of the two photons. Okay? So normally, you can see here, without the time of flight, the probability to determine the location of annihilation along the line of the response is the same in each location. So that's why you get like for the PET scanner. So that's why the resolution is not good, because we cannot determine the location exactly for the annihilation. Okay, because the weighting of the location, okay, to predict that where is the location of the annihilation is not accurate. But in case of the time of flight, you see, okay, when we use the time of flight, we can determine the location of the annihilation more accurately. The probability of the annihilation weighting is not the same, similar to the conventional PET. Okay, you can determine more accurately, and the probability of this area will be way higher than other area. So it means that you have shorter range. You have the shorter range just only in this location to calculate the resolution. Okay, so that's why you get better of the resolution if your scanner has this mode for the time of flight. Okay, don't forget. Okay, when you draft for the TOR, for the tender. Okay, don't forget for the time of flight mode in your scanner. All right. The next one is the are there any questions regarding for the time of flight? This one could be improve the resolution and also improve the detectability of the small lesion. Okay, without time of flight, your resolution will be worse than the scanner that has the time of flight. And this one also can reduce the injected activity, okay, to the patient by using the time of flight. Okay, another one is the image quality. Okay, in order to evaluate for the contrast and also for the signal ratio for the hot and cold region. Okay, we have to use the IEC body phantom like this, which is consists of, okay, this is the 6 fillable sphere. Okay, and the 2 largest sphere you fill just only the plain water. Okay, or distilled water. No need to fill the activity. Okay, just only the 4 smallest sphere fill the activity in order to mimic for the hot lesion. But this one to mimic the cold lesion. Alright. And then you have to vary the ratio of the contrast of the activity concentration in the warm background. This is the light insert. 4 and 8 times, okay, of the background. For example, in the background is around 11 kilobecquerel per mil. So you have to fill the activity in this sphere 4 times and 8 times of the activity in the background in order to represent the low contrast and the high contrast. Okay, to determine the contrast for the low uptake, and 8 times to represent for the high uptake. Okay. All right, and then you will get the image like this, and then you draw the ROI according to the diameter in each of the sphere, and 12 ROI surrounding in the background, and then you calculate the average of the tau in the background. This is the equation to calculate for the hot sphere and the cold sphere. And then you calculate for the percent contrast. You see, for the smallest one that may be suffering from the partial Waving effect, okay, you get the lower contrast, and then your percent contrast will be increased according to the size of the sphere. This one, there is no standardized. Okay, this one will be used as the baseline test for your scanning for the image quality. Okay, for the next future, the image quality should not be degraded, okay, or should be comparable to the baseline result. This one example for the A21 and okay, you have to mix the phantom inside the warm background.
Yes.
It's almost 9 or 10 liters, something like that. Okay, but be careful. Okay, be careful. Don't shake too strong. Otherwise, the sphere inside the phantom will be cracked. All right, and then another one for the 4 to 1, and then you record some of these. I think this is the last one for the SCT quality station to determine the quality station error between PET and CT. Okay, you have to use the L block fixer that put in the tip of the table and also around 100 centimeters away from the top of the table here. And then you have to put like the object to represent the patients around here. Okay, and then in each location you put the fiduciary marker over here. You fill the contrast media that you can see from the CT, right? And you drop the FDG, the FKT, and then you see the picture from the head, okay? And then you measure the distance from the centroid of the CT to the centroid of the head, okay? So normally, ideally, the centroid of the PET and the CT should be in the same pixel, in the same location. That is ideally, but in practical, it actually is not. But you have to measure the distance between two centroids. Okay, this is the example. This is the picture that will fill the CT contrast and also for the drop of the FHE, and then you will get the image like this. Okay, it's not too high for the activity concentration, just only like. For example, that the CT contrast concentration 240 milligram mil, okay, and also for the activity it should be like between 0.5 to 1 millicubic. And then you measure the centroid between CT and also for the PET. So this is the positioning and set up the phantom. And then you have to put like maybe you can put like the leg block to represent the patients. The load, the body weight of the patients, and put the fiduciary marker in the location according to the vendor recommendation. So this is the location, like 01 XYZ, okay, at the half of the FOV, okay, 20 0 half FOV and 0 20, yes, like this. All right. So this is the example of the location. Okay, this is the SCT gantry. Okay, around maybe future, around maybe at the location close to the top of the table, and then around 100 centimeters from the top of the table. I think that's all. In summary, the testing of the SCT, particularly for the PET system, as we learned from today, should be within the limit of the vendor following the NEMA new 2018 protocol, or the result should be compared to the manufacturer specification. It is recommended that the accident testing or the QP action plan must be performed after installation or once annually. It should be, if you can do that. And the test will be used as the reference data for the future test and for the NEMA annual test. So I think that's all of my presentation. Thank you. Are there any questions? I hope that.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's why I use my phone.
Thank you everyone for your idea.
questions?
Ada pertanyaan? And with bahasa, and I try to explain Kusuma and Kijiwan. So and what already is done.
Yeah, sure. You will use your laptop.
No. Baik teman-teman, terima kasih semuanya, dan sekarang adalah giliran saya dengan Gani. Kalau memang ada pertanyaan nggak? Sekali lagi, nggak ada? Udah ya? Bener nih? Oh, itu mungkin dihabiskan ya. Oke, sekarang saya sama Gani, setelah mendapatkan pemaparan tadi dari Sekitiwa mengenai quality control by NEMA system yang dilakukan. Jadi sebetulnya quality control pada alat PET itu bisa dilakukan dengan cara NEMA ataupun juga berdasarkan guiding dari masing-masing company alat tersebut. Artinya kami nanti kalau buat kami sendiri di sisi profesi akan kedepannya akan membuat seperti mana yang harus kita lakukan. Nah, saat ini dari beberapa yang harus dilakukan untuk alat PET itu, nah, kami akan memaparkan mengenai normalisasi dan juga WCC proses beserta sensitivity. Kami nanti akan semua bisa pakai secara langsung. Dan kesempatan ini saya berikan kepada Gani untuk pertama memaparkan mengenai normalisasi dan juga pengertian quality control berdasarkan WCC. Jadi di sini
Or you can choose this.
Jadi melanjutkan kegiatan workshop kita pada pagi hari ini, nanti kita praktikal di siang hari setelah istirahat. Tapi sebelum itu kita ada transisi untuk bagaimana praktek yang nanti kita lakukan. Yang tadi sudah Bu Rini mention, kita akan ada 2 workshop untuk pengukuran QC. Yang pertama adalah normalization, dan yang kedua nanti dilanjutkan oleh Bu Rini terkait dengan sensitivity. Karena nanti praktikalnya kita menggunakan alat PET yang dari GE yang ada di RSUD OLS, jadi kurang lebih untuk secara prosedur kita mengikuti guideline yang ada oleh GE. Tapi mungkin untuk alat PET yang lain bisa menyesuaikan, karena secara basic adalah sama untuk penggunaan. Jadi untuk di sistem GE itu ada namanya 3D normalization dan well counter correction atau SOP akurasi untuk nama generalnya. Berarti untuk setiap alat PET ini juga perlu dilakukan SOP akurasi. Secara umum seperti ini alur untuk WCC. Jadi yang pertama adalah pastikan alat PET itu dilakukan dari method terkait dengan rekomendasi dari alat PET ini. Kemudian nanti dilakukan normalisasi scan dengan faktor germanium 8. Tujuannya untuk bisa melakukan faktor koreksi dari kristal detektor dari PET. Kemudian baru dilanjutkan pengukuran well counter correction dengan phantom air. Tujuannya untuk bisa melakukan konversi dari core untuk nanti bisa mendapatkan aktivitas fisik dalam satuan vektor per milimeter. Yang nantinya adalah kita bisa mendapatkan nilai SUV untuk melihat akurasinya dari pengukuran dengan yang didapat dari FI. Secara singkat terkait dengan normalisasi adalah kita ketahui bahwa tadi penjelasan dari expert sebelumnya bahwa kristal detektor itu untuk alat PET tentunya tidak sama sensitivitasnya, sehingga perlu dilakukan normalisasi untuk bisa menyamakan respon dari masing-masing kristal yang bisa mengukur bagaimana perbedaan efisiensi antara kristal data tersebut karena akan banyak sekali kristal sintilasi dalam satu detektor ring tersebut. Metode yang dilakukan untuk alat gigi yang dimana menggunakan phantom germanium 68 atau disebut juga sebagai aluminium phantom dengan diameter 30 cm, kemudian diposisikan di pusat gantry dari alat sensitif, kemudian nantinya dilakukan scanning untuk bisa mendapatkan berapa faktor koreksi untuk kristal dari detektor PET-nya. Nantinya didapatkan faktor koreksi untuk nanti digunakan sebagai kuantitatif. Ini prosedur, jadi yang pertama adalah kan istilahnya kita workshop praktikal, jadi saya jabarkan bagaimana prosedur yang nanti dilakukan untuk praktikal di lapangan. Jadi misalkan kita prosedur pemilihan pemeriksaan, kemudian kita pilih PET WC3D, lalu kita insert pasien dan ID dan sebagainya. Yang paling penting adalah kita harus memasukkan terkait dengan tanggal dan juga aktivitas dari anulus yang kita ketahui karena kita mempengaruhi dari pengukuran selanjutnya. Kemudian ini tadi positioning dari phantom, pastikan dia posisi tengah dari gantry PET CT. Lalu dilakukan scanning dengan mobile laser, lalu kita pastikan bahwa phantom germanium berada di tengah dari field of view. Lalu berikutnya terkait dengan setelah melakukan normalisasi, step selanjutnya adalah kita melakukan pengukuran well counter correction. Di mana well counter correction ini kenapa kita perlu lakukan? Karena terkait dengan prosedur kalibrasi dari alat PET CT untuk bisa kita mendapatkan nilai numerik dari tiap pixel citra yang nantinya kita konversi menjadi satuan fisik yang bisa kita evaluasi misalkan dalam aktivitas per volume atau background per milimeter. Metode yang digunakan dengan menggunakan phantom air seperti ini dengan aktivitas yang kita ketahui, kita catat dengan juga waktu dari pengukuran tersebut. Nantinya kita membandingkan hasil perhitungan pada sistem dengan pengukuran yang kita lakukan dengan dos kalibrator atau dengan well counter. Nah, kenapa WCC perlu dilakukan? Karena dalam hal klinisi, dokter itu menggunakan nilai SUV dalam mengevaluasi citra PET. Nah, apabila nilai SUV-nya tidak akurat, tentunya akan mempengaruhi dari hasil ataupun ekspertisi dari dokter menginterpretasikan dari suatu citra PET. Dan tujuan lainnya adalah kita bisa menjaga konsistensi dari sensitivitas PET detektor. Sensitivitas antara sistem imaging, jadi sistem imaging ini adalah PET scanner untuk bisa mengukur aktivitas yang tersebar dalam tubuh pasien di scanning terhadap dari dos kalibrator, karena aktivitas yang kita ukur menggunakan dos kalibrator sehingga kita perlu melihat konsistensi sensitivitas antara sistem imaging pada PET dengan aktivitas yang terukur di dos kalibrator. Jadi ada tujuan yang dilakukan dari WCC pengukuran. Ini peralatan yang dilakukan dari phantom uniform, lalu powder phantom dan juga kuncian dengan ukuran 5 mm. Nah, praktek yang kita lakukan adalah persiapan phantom. Saya minta ada yang mau jadi volunteer untuk bagaimana persiapan dari phantom. Silakan siapa yang mau? Atau masih ikut aja karena belum bolak-balik. Kalian masih ikut tolong. Jadi yang pertama adalah kita harus menyiapkan simbol F18 dengan aktivitas sekitar 0,5 milimoli pada scan time. Jadi misalkan scan time-nya kita perlu di jam 8. Tentunya persiapannya tidak mungkin di jam 8, kita mungkin di jam 7. Jadi di jam 7 itu kita estimasikan 0,5 milimoli di jam 8 pagi misalkan. Jadi kita pastikan 0,5-nya di waktu scan time. Yang kedua, kita perlu phantom. Jadi kalau untuk kelihatan semua kan? Orang di tengah ya. Jadi kalau untuk gigi sendiri dan kalau misalnya seperti ini, mungkin untuk setiap vendor berbeda-beda, tapi secara umum vendornya seperti ini, vendor air. Yang pertama adalah kita isi dulu vendornya sekitar 90% dari volume total dari Kemudian yang berikut adalah yang paling penting juga sinkronisasi antara waktu dari komputer yang ada di PET-CT dengan waktu tidur kalibrator. Pastikan sinkron. Takutnya misalkan di PET-CT-nya pukul 7 ternyata settingan tidur kalibratornya jam 8 kan nggak matching gitu. Karena kita perlu koreksi antara sistem imaging dengan tidur kalibrator, itu penting untuk dilakukan. Nah berikutnya boleh kita tolong Mas Ipun. Jadi di sini sudah ada simulasi F18 dengan aktivitas 0,5 milikurie. Nah, terus dicampurkan ke dalam phantom yang sudah berisi air. Ya. Jadi kita buka penutup dari phantomnya. Nah, setelah kita tekan masuknya juga kita bilas dengan cara berkali-kali kita bilas di siringnya, jadi inject, push gitu. Jadi untuk membilas berapa di siringnya biar dia semuanya termasuk ke dalam phantom. Nah, berikutnya aduk air dan juga F18 secara perlahan untuk bisa menghindari bubble. Jadi kita tutup dulu pengunci dari phantom, baru nanti kita aduk agar kita campur antara F18 dengan air yang sudah di dalam phantom. Nah kemudian yang kelima, isikan air hingga penuh secara perlahan dan pastikan tidak ada bubble. Silakan Mas Ismail. Jadi kita isi 10% kekurangan phantom di sini semua. Oh ya, tadi setelah kita isikan F18-nya kita ukur posiringnya. Jadi kita lihat tersisa di siringnya berapa yang bisa dikurangi. Karena pasti mungkin akan ada sisaan di siring yang tadi kita injeksikan ke dalam phantom. Karena kita jadi kita asumsikan phantomnya sudah terpenuh 100%, kemudian tutup lagi phantom, kemudian pastikan tidak ada kontaminasi, lalu kita mixkan lagi, kita campur, lalu baru nanti dilakukan pemindaian phantom ke dalam PET-CT. Diasumsikan ini sudah penuh. Jadi nanti tinggal di scan di alat PET-CT. Ya, terima kasih Mas Ipul. Nah, kemudian baru kita lakukan akuisisi dengan pemilihan data yang mau diregistrasi, kemudian enter, kemudian ini tinggal mengikuti prosedur yang ada di manualnya GE. Lalu nanti setelah kita melakukan akuisisi data, tentu kita perlu processing kita bisa mengintegrasikan dari manualnya GE, kita beri service, lalu klik pad, lalu pilih image quality dan resolution calculation. Ini hasil processing data contohnya. Nah, yang menjadi penting adalah juga melakukan verifikasi terkait dengan hasil well counter correction-nya dengan pilih prosedur yang ada di sistemnya GE untuk alat yang nanti Bapak Ibu misalkan gunakan, rekonstruksi dari citranya, lalu dilakukan kuantifikasi terkait dengan akurasi nilai verifikasi yang didapat. Nah, yang paling penting adalah hasil yang nanti kita lakukan adalah kita mendapatkan akurasi dari nilai aktivitas yang kita dapat. Jadi kita lakukan ukur nilai ROI pada nilai PET aksi pilih satuannya kilobecquerel per milimeter, lalu bandingkan hasil dengan aktivitas yang sebenarnya tadi kita masukkan ke dalam siring, dibagi dengan volumenya. Untuk ROI-nya kita bikin dengan rekomendasi dari alatnya adalah 120 mm untuk diameter dari ROI-nya. Nanti toleransi yang diperbolehkan adalah maksimum di 10%. Contohnya seperti ini aplikasinya. Jadi tadi misalkan kita sudah siapkan aktivitas F18 dengan nilai 18,5 megabecquerel. Lalu volume phantom ini kalau kita isi full itu sebesar 5.640 ml, sehingga kita bisa tahu aktivitasnya kita bagi aktivitas per volume. Misalkan didapat 3,28 kilobecquerel per mililiter. Lalu kita bandingkan dengan hasil pengukuran yang kita lakukan pada citra PET, kita bikin ROI. Lalu kita lihat di sini akan ada nilai SUV yang telah terukur aktivitasnya sebesar 3,54 kilobecquerel per mililiter. Jadi kita bandingkan nilai yang terukur, aktivitas pada yang terukur dengan aktivitas yang kita indeksikan yang sebenarnya, diperoleh deviasi contoh untuk kasusnya adalah 1,21%. Artinya masih kurang dari 10%. Nilai SUV yang ada di akuisisi PET bisa kita gunakan nantinya oleh dokter sebagai interpretasi citra PET dalam hasil pembacaan oleh dokter. Jadi kita bisa meyakini akurasi dari nilai SUV yang ada di sini. Jadi itu tujuannya kenapa kita perlu melakukan normalisasi dan juga double sisi pengukuran pada quality control yang kita lakukan pada alat PET. Demikian dari saya, akan dilanjutkan oleh Bu ini biar kita bisa efektif. Terima kasih.
Baik, terima kasih Gani. Selanjutnya saya akan melanjutkan mengenai sensitivitas. Dan nanti untuk menmak semuanya akan saya bagi kelompok. Saya akan memberikan challenge untuk memasukkan cairan dari F18 ke dalam setelan plastik yang ada di dalam sini. Sekarang kami menunggu dan saya bagi kelompok aja dari ujung begitu 1, 2, 3, 4 dan 1, 2, 3, 4 dan setelah itu yang angka 1 berkumpul di angka 1, 2, 2, 3, 4 dan seterusnya. Pas ya, 4 kelompok. Jadi nanti angka 1 bergabung semua di teman-temannya yang angka 1 ya. Baik. Pada alat PET kamera. Ya, seperti sudah dibahas sebelumnya, sensitivitas adalah pengukuran jumlah kom atau incident detection event per second yang dihasilkan dari pemindaian untuk setiap unit aktivitas pada field of view pada benda rekaman. Pengukuran sensitivitas ini dilakukan dengan jumlah material atenuasi yang berbeda-beda. Jadi dari alat ini terdapat 5 kali lipatan dari ukuran yang terkecil sampai ukuran yang kelima. Jadi ada 5 lapisan. 5 lapisan kemudian diberinya dengan atenuasi yang berbeda-beda dengan hasil yang diekstrapolasi untuk menghasilkan sensitivitas pemindai tanpa material atenuasi. Pengujian dilakukan dengan aktivitas yang sangat rendah sehingga komunitasnya dapat diabaikan. Nah ini peralatannya ya, kalau kita buka bahwa ini perjuangan ya dari Bandung saya bawa karena di sini belum ada alat ini. Jadi ini tukang sulap ya. Kita lihat ya, ini ada 5 perbedaan ya ukuran ketebalan. Kemudian untuk yang ini tadi ini alatnya, kemudian ini sebenarnya kayak jemuran gitu. Ini adalah untuk menyangga ini nanti di dalam gaterinya. Ya, ini jemuran juga saya bawa dari Bandung ya. Saya jualan Kemudian ini adalah holder, sebetulnya ini adalah holder yang dilakukan pada untuk WCC Vietnam, tapi kita menggunakan dari yang kebetulan karena alamnya GE ya. Dan holder ini kita balikkan yang kita bisa gunakan untuk sensitivitas. Kemudian ini penyangga dan ini nanti untuk siring yang berisi aktivitas F18. Kalau suggest dari mengikuti guideline GE adalah 20 megaperitural. Kemudian ini adalah semacam kain malam untuk menutup ujung dari selang plastik di kiri dan kanan sehingga cairan radioaktif yang ada masuk dalam selang itu tidak akan keluar, jadi aman tanpa kontaminasi. Ya. Kemudian untuk persiapannya ini kita menggunakan sumber F18, aktivitasnya kalau ini berdasarkan dari NEMA memang 0,150 mili dalam siring, tapi kalau mengikuti guideline dari GE, aktivitas yang diperlukannya ini adalah 0,5 mili. Tapi pada dasarnya setelah kita melakukan, karena melakukan sampai 5 kali scanning, aktual aktivitasnya itu adalah sama, jadi menjadi 0,1 juga jadinya pada akhirnya. Nah, kalau untuk mencampurkan ini dengan berwarna, volumenya sekitar 2 ml pada wadah, sebetulnya ini tidak menjadikan kewajiban. Memberikan warna ini hanya untuk memudahkan kita melihat karena ada tantangan lebih khusus ya. Memasukkan ke dalam selang cairan ke dalam selang ini bila putih akan sulit melihat secara jelas apakah ada bubble atau tidak, sehingga memberikan warna ini hanya untuk mempermudah kita melihat apakah ada udara atau tidak dalam selang. Kemudian kita ukur F18 yang telah diecerkan. Ini sebetulnya stepnya adalah bagaimana kita mau melakukan caranya pada saat pencampuran atau pengenceran radiofarmaka. Bila kita tidak ingin radiofarmakanya berkurang, karena kita tahu ya radioaktif kalau kita tempatkan di tempat yang baru maka akan ada sisa yang tertempel pada tempat tersebut. Kita bisa melakukan pencampurannya, kandinya bisa langsung dengan menggunakan siring tersebut dan memperhitungkan volume serta aktivitas yang akan dicapainya. Kemudian kita ukur aktivitas yang pada siring tersebut dengan menggunakan dose validator. Kita catat aktivitas siringnya dan waktu pengukuran jamnya, karena ini harus dicatat semuanya untuk mempermudah pada saat kita input data di alat PET-nya. Di alat PET itu waktu sangat berharga sekali. Selain karena radioaktif yang digunakan waktu pausnya cepat, tapi dia juga berpengaruh terhadap untuk pengukuran hasil SUV dan juga counting pada alat tersebut. Kemudian kita masukkan ke dalam siring ini setelah tahu aktivitasnya, tidak ada bubble, kemudian ditutup ujungnya ya, dengan yang menggunakan lilin. Tapi setelah selesai kita mengerjakan harus cepat dibersihkan, karena sifatnya lilin kalau nanti udah ini dia akan lebih keras dan agak sulit kita mengeluarkan. Pengalaman di saya akhirnya kita potong ujungnya karena nggak bisa dibersihin, yang ada malah makin mampet. Jadi setelah selesai sebaiknya semua itu harus kita cepat bersihkan. Kemudian setelah itu dimasukkan ke dalam line yang paling kecil. Line yang paling kecil berdiameter terkecil dan nanti ditempatkan di kamera gamma. Ini pasang holdernya dulu ya, yang tadi udah dibalik. Tempel, tadinya saya mau bawa dari Bandung tapi resikonya tinggi sekali karena saya nggak tahu dalam penerbangan itu posisi di bandara di pesawat orang akan melempar atau enggak, takutnya bila ada pergeseran juga akan berpengaruh nantinya jadinya di tempat saya, alat saya. Nah, holdernya diposisikan demikian, kemudian pengukuran itu kan tadi ada dua di center dengan kita melakukan lebih dari center 10 cm arah kanan ataupun arah kiri yang begitu. tadi, alas bawah dari meja ini ada rollnya ya. Ini mentok sampai di ujung gantry. Kemudian kita melakukan pemindaian atau masuknya dengan cara menekan ini ya, untuk menekan ini, tekan ini. Nanti yang bisa dilihat secara langsung pada saat demo dengan tim dari GE sendiri. Setelah itu posisi meja terhadap gantry adalah seperti ini. Dan kita perhatikan tanda meja ini tahunya ini posisi pack atau bukan, biasanya kita lihat di informasi gantry atas. Ini menandakan ini meja dan ini menandakan posisi dari yang line source tadi di posisi ini. Selanjutnya kita memasang penyangga tadi ya, ini jemuran. Sebetulnya ini modifikasi ya, mau dipasang menggunakan jemuran atau juga dengan menggunakan tali. Kita menggantung, cuma resikonya dengan tali ada pergerakan berarti dia bendanya akan bergoyang dan jadi tidak stabil. Kemudian kita memastikan apakah posisi holder dengan jemuran ini rata atau tidak dengan menggunakan waterpass. Ya, sama itu pekerjaan sehari-hari ya. Jadi ini waterpass itu akan selalu mengikuti kita untuk mengetahui apakah ketinggiannya ini menjadi presisi atau tidak. Oke, setelah itu dinyalakan lasernya dan menunjukkan media pemeriksaan pasang batang yang posisi tepat dalam gantry seperti ini. Oke, kemudian kita tekan tombol landmark dan catat posisi pada gantry. Ini sudah selesai. Kayaknya selesai deh. Untuk akuisisi data. Kita seperti biasa, seperti memasukkan data pasien baru untuk memberikan informasi atau pasien ID dan pasien name yang membedakan dari pasien pemeriksaan pada umumnya. Misalnya kita masukkan ID pasien adalah tanggal keterangan hari ini, kemudian namanya itu kita isi dengan sensitivity test, kemudian di enter dan kita melanjutkan dengan mengisi data tab. Ya. Ini seperti ini, nanti bisa seperti ini. Biar ini. Nah tadi ya udah diisi, kemudian kita mengisi info tadi ya, data aktivitas. Setelah selesai kita pilih step dan kemudian kita memilih di bawah kaki dari posisi anatomi di alam pad atau klik GE, nanti muncul kita pilih tema sensitivity. Selanjutnya kita confirm, kemudian kita mengganti data ini untuk mengatur start dan end location dan dipastikan nilainya ini karena kita melakukan 5 kali pengulangan, posisinya ini yang tadi dicatat di gantry di atas itu adalah semua ini sama. Kemudian kita masukkan jumlah bit position adalah 1 dan overlapnya adalah 0. Setelah itu tekan start scan ketika tanda di dalam meja operator itu menyala. Kemudian masukkan slide kedua sampai slide kelima dengan hal yang kita lakukan sama. Setelah selesai 5 slide, kita melakukan pergeseran dari titik center ke sebelah kanan sepanjang 10 cm dan melakukan akuisisi yang sama seperti saat kita melakukan pada saat yang posisi di center gantry-nya. Kemudian kita melakukan analisa data ini dengan memilih dari menu service, kemudian menampilkan pilih image quality dan kita pilih menu NEMA analysis tool. Yang kita pilih datanya itu adalah yang ada keterangannya live. Ya. Kemudian klik sensitivity dan running calculation. Oke. Kemudian ini adalah hasil seperti yang dalam penjelasan dan kita akan bandingkan. Seharusnya kita membandingkan dengan hasil pada saat kita melakukan scan test awal yang dari publik, ya. Atau kita membandingkan kepada manual book yang dari company itu sendiri, biasanya mereka mempunyai rekomendasi hasil yang diharuskan, ya. Begitu juga untuk hasil yang 10 cm. Ya, dan terima kasih atas perhatiannya. Berarti kita lanjut ke praktek mengisi ini ya, yang kita bagi kelompoknya, kelompok 1, 2, 3, 4. Yuk, langsung aja ya, karena ini sudah mendekati jam makan siang. Karena habis ini kan mesti ada gerak cepat ya. Habis ini lunch, terus kita ke tech facility yang ada jauh di belakangnya dari sini. Yuk. Soma and Ditiwa, now I will experiment how to fill in the. Kemudian setiap satu kelompok akan mendapatkan ini dibuat, ini tidak ada radioaktif sama sekali ya, ini dummy. Jadi saya cuma mencoba membuat lebih nyata, karena kalau kita dengan real radioaktif juga agak sulit ya. Semuanya kita jadi nggak ada risiko. Ini seolah-olah semua setiap kelompok ini mendapat satu siring yang berisikan R18 dengan aktivitasnya 0,5 milikuri atau 20 mdq. Kira-kira kenapa nih? Kalau 0,5 di mdq ini jadi berapa? Ya, kurang lebih 18, sekian ya tadi. Tapi karena risiko kadang-kadang bukan yang tadi semua dirugikan itu nggak masalah. Oke, yuk kelompok 1 yang mana? Ada berapa orang yang satu kumpul? 1 orang mendapatkan slip berisi aktivitas. Kemudian ini semua ya, semuanya akan mendapatkan sama ya. 1 slip aktivitas, 1 lilin dan 1 tempat untuk buat cairan. Jadi nanti sistemnya adalah ini 1 siring ini dibuat antara 2 sampai 3 mili. Sebetulnya nggak masalah, tapi paling bagus kita kalau dari itu 3 mili ya. Saya sudah memberikan cairan berwarna, ada warna merah sama biru, mana yang lebih suka mau digunakan. Kemudian diencerkan tadi ya, diencerkan. Setelah itu baru dimasukkan ke sini, tidak boleh ada udara. Oke, tantangannya itu sih, nggak boleh ada udara aja. Ya. Oke, sudah kumpul. Ini 1 sini ya. Oke, 1, 2. 2 ada 2. Oh, ini 1, 2. Ini 1, 2, 3. Oke, 3. 4. Oke, harusnya sama yang tadi karena pas gitu. Ya, ambil ininya hadiah dari saya. Ya, silakan ganti mau warna apa. Masing-masing semuanya sama. Ininya mah nggak usah ya. Yang kotak-kotak sabun itu malam ya, ini lilin ya. Yang kita gunakan untuk sebagai bahan. Gak usah khawatir, mau di sini boleh kok. Gak usah khawatir kalau ada tumpahan, tidak ada radioaktifnya. Cuman dummy aja. Udah ada kumpul? Masih? Udah ambil? Bentar. Yang ini kan beberapa semua. Ada 3, ya bisa. Pokoknya ada yang pernah. Terus ini ada, ini ada Rara sama Enda, itu ada. Oke, Bapak salah? Oce, bisa kalau nggak tukar 1, Enda ke situ, Oce ke sini. Atau siapa salah 1, tukar. Enda sekarang ya. Oce nggak apa-apa di situ, salah satu dari ini misalnya Ica kali di sini. Ya, situ Jen. Ya, oke. Wih, ada lagi yang paling ganteng. Dia sendiri. Mau sampai jam berapa kira-kira dengan tantangan ini? With the group, the best, without the problem. Sarung tangan.